Hello and welcome back again to the All About RFID series. It's Kyle again here, your RFID solutions architect at RedBeam, and today we are here to talk about active versus passive RFID. So in general, we'll be talking about the tags and the readers. And very simply stated, and if you ask anybody, they will tell you active RFID uses batteries and passive doesn't. Video over, go on to the next one. It's not completely true. There's a lot more to it. So we went over passive in the last video. Essentially, passive is the no battery, right? It's a passive technology. It sits there and it waits, and it's small and lightweight and cheap. It's a little paper tag maybe, right? It just has that chip and that antenna that's just waiting on you to energize it so that it can beacon back out its unique ID. So on the other side of things, active RFID is the overachiever. It's the high maintenance cousin of passive RFID. Why is that? Because it has a battery, it is more expensive, and it has a scheduled beacon frequency, right? So what's going to happen is instead of waiting on an RFID reader to actually energize the tag, it's just going to sit there and constantly scream, look at me, here's my unique ID, here's my unique ID, over and over until the battery runs out, and you have to replace the battery or replace the tag. So because of that, like I said, they're bigger, they're more expensive, they're used for high value assets. So where passive RFID is used for your low value assets or even high value assets, it can be, but it's used for retail, inventory, supply chain. You can even track people in situations. Whereas active RFID is only going to be used for high value assets. These tags are, and I try not to quote dollars in any of these videos because I want them to last, but let's just say $5 plus per tag. Whereas the passive RFID tags are in the, how many cents is it? Usually below $1 if you're on a standard tag, right? You can get up into the dollars, but they're not going to be $5 plus for every tag. So you can only justify tagging high value assets with active RFID. Now, the advantage of our active RFID really is the range, right? It can operate out at up to 200 meters of range, whereas we're going to, in a typical UHF passive RFID, we're going to see something between 10 and 30 feet or a few meters, right? We're not going to see 200 meters of range on those. So you're going to see active RFID in your oil fields, mining, construction, shipping containers. It can track people, but it's only used in very important places where you might need high levels of secrets, like a top secret facility to track people, or just people on a marathon. Don't come after me, FBI. So active tags, they can also carry sensors, right? So you could have a GPS sensor with the active tag and get a lot more data from that because they have that battery, they have the capability to integrate all that together. Whereas a passive tag is only getting its energy from the air, from the RFID energy that's passed to it from a reader. So battery, not battery, kind of true. There is a technology called battery assisted passive. Battery assisted passive is the idea that a passive tag, one of these tags, could have a battery, but it will not beacon out at any frequency. It will wait until it detects a hint of an RFID signal, and it will beacon out at a louder energy than it would have been able to just from what it absorbed from the air. In the 12 years I've been doing RFID deployments with RedBeam, I have seen one deployment of battery assisted passive, and we later replaced them with a passive tag once a good enough passive tag came out to replace it to track people, actually is what that one was. So battery assisted passive. So not always true if it has a battery that it's active or passive. The real difference between the two, other than the cost, is the idea that passive UHF RFID operates in the 860 to 960 megahertz spectrum, whereas active RFID operates at 433 megahertz or 2.4 gigahertz or 2400 megahertz, right? So yes, you can get pretty high accuracy and pretty long range with active RFID, but it is probably not the solution unless you're in one of those very particular industries that needs that active RFID range and can justify the price of tagging those assets and deploying those readers with active RFID. All right, so in summary, we got the wallflower and the overachiever, right? We got the one that shuts its mouth and doesn't do anything until it's talked to, and we got the one that's constantly screaming, look at me. It's the Civic or the Tesla. Both of them are going to get you there, right? But one's going to have a lot more upfront cost and eventually have the battery replaced. So next up, we're going to talk about RFID tags and what you need to know about them. And stick around for this because yes, you can screw this up and it can ruin an RFID deployment.